Well, news coming in that BCCI Chief Jagmohan Dalmiya has passed away. Dalmiya passed away at a Kolkata hospital. 75-year-old Dalmiya was in hospital since Thursday, where he was admitted after complaining of severe chest pain. Boria Majumdar, our consulting sports editor, is now joining us on the phone line for more on this. Boria, it's very sad, news coming in as of now. Jagmohan Dalmiya, BCCI President and a veteran cricket administrator, is no more.
Yes, absolutely, and it's an era. It's an era that has just come to an end. All of us were hoping that he would come off it. Things were stable. I can tell you, Ankit, things were stable till yesterday. I was in the hospital yesterday in the afternoon, almost every day actually. Met his son and daughter-in-law, and each of us were talking. All of us were expecting that he would be able to tide over this crisis, but clearly that's not been the case. I mean, this afternoon when Saurav Ganguly and I were meeting in his house, we got news that things weren't very good, but that was it. I mean, obviously, the medical practitioners did their best, the family did their best, everybody did their best, but beyond the point you can't. And it's the end of an era, as I said. The man who actually made Indian cricket a profitable enterprise, the man who sort of changed the face of cricket administration altogether.
Yes.
And somebody who's been very close to me personally, because I've been knowing him for the last 20 plus years, is no more. And that's a big setback for Indian cricket.
Of course, it must be a difficult time for the family, and of course for you also, Boria. You knew him very well personally. Boria, he's the man who is also, who is also given credit for bringing the World Cup in 1987 to India. Also, the man who who made Indian cricket very big at the global stage. What else do you remember of this veteran cricket administrator?
Oh, everything. I mean, if you really think of it. When he took over as the chief of the ICC had a bank balance of £16,000. And when he left as the chief of the ICC, it had a bank balance of £16 million. When he entered the BCCI as secretary in 1991, the BCCI had a bank balance of 62 lakhs as deficit. And when Mr. Dalmiya became BCCI president in 2001, replacing A.C. Mutaya, the BCCI was one of the richest cricket boards in the world. He made cricket what it is. I mean, he brought the Hero Cup to Kolkata in 1993, installed the floodlights at the Eden Gardens, the first Indian to become the president of the ICC, coming back to the helm of the BCCI. Oh, a lot of achievements. I mean, if you can list that, I mean, 40 years of cricket administration, incredible amount of achievement. But as I said, it's the end of an era. I mean, at 75, perhaps not the time to go. But he's been not the best. Let's put it that way over the last few months. And this time, this coronary attack on Thursday night, I think, was the last straw. Till yesterday, there was chance of revival. The medical bulletin said he was stable, but from today morning, things deteriorated. And as you know, he breathed his last a few minutes away. Back.
Boria, stay on with me. Manogya Lohiwal, my colleague, she is also joining us on the phone line. Manogya, in fact, is on her way to the hospital. Manogya, I'll just come back to you. Lalchand Rajput, former cricket player, he's now joining us on the phone line. Sir, a sad day indeed for the Indian cricket. One of the best administrator the game, at least in India, has seen, is no more.
Yeah, I think it's a very, very sad day for Indian cricket because Dalmiya was the one who really changed the Indian cricket. He brought monetary benefits to the players and key rights. Actually, he was the one who really changed the Indian cricket. And in fact, I think it's a great loss to Indian cricket because I think he was the one who really, benefited a lot of cricketers as well, because when the money came in, the players benefited. And I think the BCCI changed him under his regime.
Yes. Sir, he also was the first Indian at the helm of affairs at the ICC, credited for taking Indian cricket global. What do you, now remember Mr. Dalmiya as?
I think he was, as I rightly said, he was the first Indian to represent ICC as a president, and then I think he got the World Cup in India as well. And I think India really became a global, I think, force when Dalmiya was at the helm, and I think it has brought a lot of laurels to the country, to cricket, and to the cricketers of India.
Mr. Rajput, a lot of cricketers flourished under Mr. Dalmiya. Some say even Sachin Tendulkar, it was he flourished under when Mr. Dalmiya's reign as a cricket administrator. As a cricketer, as Mr. Dalmiya also made a comeback on the helm of the affairs at BCCI after 10 years. How do you see him taking over at BCCI? What were the expectations at such a time when it was such a turmoil for the cricketing body?
I think he was a very seasoned, administrator, and it was good to see that he came back after a long time, because he was the board president, secretary, ICC chairman, and he was he had been there at all the various posts, and his expertise, his I think the knowledge would have definitely benefited BCCI when BCCI was going through a lot of problems with the match fixing thing. And it's sad that, his health could not give him, I would say, give him the strength which he could have definitely done to turn around BCCI. But I think it's a sad day for Indian cricket. As I said, I have no words to tell, because he has really benefited so many cricketers when he took over charge of BCCI and ICC. I think it's a great loss. I only pray to God that his soul rest in peace and give his family members the strength to overcome this loss.
Sir, before I let you go, many call his style of functioning unconventional. What is one memory that just stays out, that comes out when you think of him?
I think, as you said, it was unconventional, but he was never scared of taking a decision. If he felt that it was right, it was right. And I still remember, when I was playing cricket, and there was a thing which came out that weaker associations can have the professionals allowed. So I was the first one to go to Assam after I finished my Mumbai career, and he said, you've got to go and help these weaker associations with your expertise, with your knowledge and the Mumbai attitude. And he just straight away said that you've got to go to help these weaker sections. And from there onward, this professional thing started from various associations taking the senior players. But I think one thing which I still remember, that was the first step he took, and he promoted us.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your thoughts on Mr. Dalmiya. Of course, telling us about what a personality, what sort of administrator he was. Jagmohan Dalmiya, the current BCCI chief, he took over after this entire controversy regarding N. Srinivasan erupted. He took over as the BCCI chief after 10 years of, being away from the cricket administration. Mr. Dalmiya, of course, started with the BCCI in 1979 and is also one of the men who is credited to bring the 1987 World Cup to the subcontinent. Mr. Dalmiya, a lot of people call his style of functioning unconventional, but he is one of the cricketers, as our experts were also telling us, one of the administrator who brought a lot of money, who took the Indian cricket also on the global stage. I've just been told by my producers that West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee is on her way to the hospital where Jagmohan Dalmiya is. She has also tweeted about Jagmohan Dalmiya, and she said, and I quote, "Sad Jagmohan Dalmiya ji passes away. He was a giant amongst the sport administrators, a true lover of Bengal. On my way to pay my respects. Rest in peace." Unquote. That was Mamata Banerjee's tweet. Boria Majumdar, a consulting editor, on the phone line with us. Boria, many people, those who knew Jagmohan Dalmiya, called him an unconventional administrator in many ways. He stuck with what he thought was right.
Absolutely, Ankit. I mean, I can give you 200 examples of such unconventional attitude and tactics, and how he sort of placed India on the cricket map. In 1993, for example, in that ICC meeting lasting 13 hours and 2 minutes, till that time the ICC had a veto. England and Australia enjoyed a veto in the ICC, and it was Dalmiya and Inderjeet Singh Bindra, who managed to sort of get that veto away from England and Australia. And that's when the World Cup was awarded to India for the second time. The way he swung the associate votes in that meeting is incredible. I mean, the story has been documented by me in many of my own works, but the stories that have been told to me by Mr. Dalmiya over several years are simply brilliant. I mean, he had a sense as to what to do. He knew the financial world like magic. He knew how to bring money into the game. He realized the potential that Indian cricket had, and he also realized what could be done to the global game. And he did that. I mean, from secretary to ICC president is quite a journey. He did not become BCCI president at the time when he was ICC chief in 1997. If you know, that election, he was stopped 3 times before he was finally anointed ICC chief. And that was some achievement. I mean, the Champions Trophy that you talk about today, which has raked in enormous amounts of revenue for the ICC, is Mr. Dalmiya's doing. Asian Cricket Council, Mr. Dalmiya's doing. Asian Cricket Confederation, Mr. Dalmiya's doing.
Boria, just stay on with me. Rajiv Shukla, Member of Parliament and also, Chairman of the IPL. He's joining us on the phone line for more on this. Mr. Shukla, Jagmohan Dalmiya, a veteran cricket administrator, is not with us anymore. Your thoughts on his life, sir?
I mean, we are completely shocked to know this news, because yesterday only I had spoken to his son, and he told me that his condition is improving a lot. He's only under observation, and soon he'll be going back home. We all were satisfied with that medical report. But suddenly it will happen, I never realized. And this is something which we can't even think of. And now there will be massive, a great vacuum as far as Indian cricket is concerned and the world cricket is concerned. Because his contribution to world cricket was also immense. He is the one who has taken BCCI to the pinnacle. So if he has gone, from this world, I don't think, the Indian cricket can, reach to further heights.
Sir, you very rightly pointed out he's the one who actually took the BCCI to a pinnacle. Your thoughts, you've known the man, you've met with him many times. It was he, after 10 years from being away from the BCCI, came back at a time when there was huge controversy as far as the BCCI is concerned. How much of a hit would it be for the game of cricket and especially the BCCI at this point of time?
Well, when he came, it was a sigh of relief for everybody in the board. We thought now the board will be above controversy. Now there won't be any problem, because he is the one who is known for dispelling this notion, and he was known for bringing everybody together. He was known for resolving differences, and he was the one who always believed transparency in the game. So that way, he was already working on those lines, and suddenly it has happened. So we don't know what to say.
Yes. Sir, I request you to stay on with me. Consulting editor Boria Majumdar wants to have a word with you. Boria, please go ahead.
Rajivji, I was the one who was giving you these medical bulletins on a day-to-day basis. Even till last night he was stable. Suddenly from this afternoon things started deteriorating, and we don't know exactly what to say. I mean, leave it to you. How do you take it from here as far as Indian Cricket Administration is concerned?
Well, I had spoken to Boria day before yesterday only, and he had also given me the update. And he was also of the view that his condition would improve. There is nothing which can be called critical or serious, and it would soon be back home. This is what we are thinking. In fact, this is what Boria told me, that he was talking to the servant and everybody around, family members. So, and he had a cup of tea or also. So we thought that it was a very mild, problem, and which would get resolved. But suddenly it will happen we had never thought of.
Absolutely, Rajivji. Till this afternoon, from early afternoon, things started deteriorating, and till yesterday evening, when Abhishek and I were together at the hospital, Abhishek's wife and I spent a lot of time yesterday. Things were improving, but such is life and such is health. I mean, if you and I were to sum up Jagmohan Dalmiya's contribution, I would say he transformed the BCCI and made Indian cricket what it is today in terms of all the money that we talk about. Would you agree?
Here I would like to add something. Not only transformed BCCI, we also transformed ICC, International Cricket Council.
Correct. Ankit, over to you. I mean, I told you
yes.
a while back that, when he became the ICC chief, the ICC coffers had a balance of 16,000 pounds,
Yeah.
and when he left, it was 16 million.
Yeah.
Now, that is Jagmohan Dalmiya for you in a nutshell. But I don't think this void can be met in sports administration in a long, long time.
That's true. Thank you so much, Mr. Rajiv Shukla, for speaking to us at this time. Sir Boria, I would like to ask that question that you in fact put up to Mr. Rajiv Shukla. It's a huge, huge vacuum as far as the cricket administration is concerned. How do you see the cricket administration going forward from here?
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I really don't know. I see a mad scramble for power happening in the BCCI. I mean, because as you know, Mr. Dalmiya was a consensus candidate. I mean, at this point in time, the board is fractured. I've been talking to a number of leading board stalwarts, Mr. Shukla inclusive of that, Mr. Manohar, Mr. Shukla, Mr. Pawar, a number of the BCCI stalwarts, people who came to attend the working committee meeting. All of them, I mean, the one thing was Mr. Dalmiya was still there at the helm, and because of his credibility and stature, despite his ailing health, he was the one who was keeping the board united. So to sort of answer your question, I see a mad scramble for power. I see a lot of politics happening. I don't think it is good for Indian cricket, but I don't know exactly how Indian cricket administration will shape itself in the next few weeks.
Boria, thank you so much for sharing your views on this. We are going to stay with this, slipping into a very short break at this moment, coming back in just 2 minutes with much more.